Okay. Howdy, folks. Yeah, that's loud, isn't it? So, do you remember the movie? Oh, hi. Anyway, forget it. So, I'm going to be the first chef to actually cook a multi-course meal in space. And that's going to happen on Virgin Galactic sometime in the future. I'm seeing that, actually visualizing that. So, it hasn't happened yet. However, so Feast is, I do an underground supper club. That's the name of it. We go to different people's houses based on Twitter. Nobody knows each other when they come, and we do like 15-course, multi-course dining. So you sign up, I send you an email, and no one knows the location until the day before. You show up, and everybody there pretty much has the same kind of concepts about food and same interests. So it's really kind of a good meeting spot for like-minded folks. You got it right?
Go forward and point it up.
Which one? Down button. Okay, yeah. So this here actually is Patashu that Evan right here. He's the baker for Feast. Him and my pastry chef made. So it's kind of a cool little scenario. This is some. I'm just kind of flip through things that I've done, the different kind of food that I've done. So, but what I'm here to talk about is how that's helped me and how it's changed things. The underground supper clubs, there's a bunch of them. I'm not the first, and I'm not the original idea. But what it's allowed me to do is basically set up dinners, take pictures, people see my food, and that's kind of a resume. And using Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the social media that saved my life. That's allowed me to do this and allowed me to sort of build a platform for myself and for others, like Evan here, and then my pastry chef Ruben, and I have a mixologist named Nick Feller, fantastic dude. So what I've done with that is turn that into, like I said, a resume. So I do consulting now. Right now I'm working with a food truck that's coming out in April. It's called Trailer Park Truck. And it's kind of right up my alley because I'm from Tennessee, and I know that food. So what we're doing is elevating that food. And so having said that, the question has come up now about what do I do with my recipes. So I've got some recipes that have been in my family for years that I've created myself, and then other things that I've sort of borrowed, little bits here and there from other people. And everything's in public domain, basically. So when I give them these recipes, and I'm teaching them how to cook them, and I have to write it down, when I actually go to write it down, it reminds me that this is something I created or borrowed or helped create, and they want to take it and keep it, like forever. Like, I can never use this again. I can't show anybody else. I can't serve it at my dinners or anywhere else. And that's made me incredibly uncomfortable. So I started studying copyright laws. And it's not that I want to copyright them. I just want to be able to use them. And I want to be able to show other people and have other people use them. So it turns out that you cannot copyright recipes. You can't copyright a list of ingredients. Because one, they're perishable, and two, it's just a list. So the chefs have been kind of like fighting around each other and working out ways to be able to copyright their own stuff. And one chef in particular has caused a huge ruckus because he's an Australian guy. I'm not going to mention his name, but he took like point by point from Grant Achatz from Alinea and Per se, Thomas Keller's Per se, and took these recipes and he mimicked them down to the details, down to the actual serving dishes, which he bought from like Crate and Barrel. That's where Grant Achatz has done it. So like he literally, and Grant Achatz was saying himself that he was almost impressed because the level of detail was so high. He really had nailed the guy's recipes. And so he's kind of been shunned from the community, which is what happens typically in communities where information is shared, like in the science community. People share their information quite a lot, and if somebody takes it and uses it for their own self and in a way that's almost like plagiarism, then they're shunned from the community. And that's kind of the punishment. And that's what sort of keeps people in a trusting situation when it comes to sharing information. So the chefs in Chicago, one is Grant Achatz, is amazing, one of the world-class chefs, one of the best chefs in the world. He's changed a lot of food. He's incredibly humble, and that's because he comes from Thomas Keller's restaurant. Because he was the sous chef at French Laundry for so long, that guy Thomas Keller is sort of a saint, and he sticks up for the concept of just sharing foods. And this guy is like considered the best of the best in the world, right next to the Spanish chefs. So Grant Achatz has published a huge book, all of his techniques, all of his ingredients, all of his recipes, and that right there is that mode of sharing with the public. So do what you want with it. This other guy, Homaru Kantu, at Moto, has really innovated in a lot of ways. Like he serves his menu on edible paper with edible ink that tastes like the dishes. So when you first get your menu, you first sit down, you actually eat the menu. And he serves another one. It's like a little piece of paper, and it's a pizza. And he's printed pizza out on edible paper. And on the underside is his name, the circle with the C in it, and like an email link to his lawyer. So he's like really trying to copyright his invention. The thing about it is he's printing ink on paper, okay? So in a sense, it's like authorship, and he's patented the technique, which is fine, okay? No big deal. So what he wants to do with this is print amino acids and essential vitamins on these papers to have them shipped overseas or wherever famine exists, which is essentially, I was talking to somebody earlier, it's kind of like he's busting into the vitamin market, realistically, because he's sort of giving basic essential ingredients that come in pill form already and can be shipped the same way. So it's like a question of why is he so stuck on copywriting and keeping his own thing? Obviously because he's going to profit financially. So that is definitely an incentive to continue to do this. But at the same time, it's like, who cares? Who really cares if somebody copyrights something? Reverse engineering, just general logic, approaching something with an eye for kind of trying to figure out what's in it. Like, for instance, this. I can't copyright this recipe. This is licorice cremeux, which is white chocolate kind of folded into egg whites and frozen. And then there's a little bit of cotton candy on top, and then I think it was a pink peppercorn meringue, like a crunchy meringue. So if you looked at that, you might not know what it is. You would probably think that may be cotton candy up there, some sort of spun sugar, but because it's kind of pressed in and dense, I don't know. People have always looked at it and asked me, what is this? So if you wanted to reverse engineer this, it's just a recipe. You could taste it and find out the flavors, and I would probably announce it when I came out, and it'd be so easy to just kind of build one of yourselves. Would I care? Absolutely not. Do I care that I'm serving the food truck wants my recipes? Yes, because I don't care who uses them. For instance, I'm giving a squash recipe to them, and the squash is just cooked in cream with coriander, a little sugar, and a salt. When I write that down, I can write it down like that. You put the squash in the cream, cook it down, add coriander at the last, salt and sugar. But if I want to sell this to somebody else, what could I do? I could easily just write another recipe that says, okay, you blanch the squash for 10 seconds, and then you put in the cream with the coriander and sugar and salt. So it's a concept of there's no way to get around things. So at that point, when you realize that, it's like, well, who cares then? If I'm financially profiting off this recipe one time, that's fine. If I print it in a book, how many times can I profit off of it? Well, how many times the book sells? So at that point, it's like, who cares who uses my recipe? And I don't understand why they do. They think I'm going to sell it to some other company. They can compete with them. But if they've got the recipe, somebody can come look at it and make the same stuff. It just doesn't matter. So my point is that copyright does not matter. Copyright is good if you're doing something really huge and you want to make sure you're profiting off of it. But in terms of like working with chefs and recipes, the idea is to keep the community thriving and innovative. And so copywriting something is almost like a slap in the face to every other chef and other person, if diners. So that's realistically that's kind of my point. The future of food has changed a lot because of the media exposure, and I think it's just time people kind of started paying attention to what they're eating. Happier people come from more pleasant food. If you like what you're eating, you're going to enjoy life a lot more. So I've been around friends, and they go to a fast food place, Taco Bell or Del Taco here, or whatever it is, Carl's Jr., and right before they eat this thing, they're like, oh God, I can't believe I'm eating this. This is so gross. And like that whole, seeing that image is not something I really like. So I'm like, well, then why are you eating the thing? I can make you a hamburger if you want. I can make you whatever you want. And I like to do that. I like to cook dinner and then breakfast. And this is another, what's that? Absolutely. I'm gonna segue into something else. This is my version of Tom Kha. So I make a gel with the Tom Kha soup, and I dip the chicken stick in it, and then roll it in fried chicken skin and coriander, with cilantro actually. And then the top is a candied cilantro leaf because you want to use every bit of it. But and so I'm reinventing Tom Kha to some extent. And that's one of those things. I mean, I'm basically making Tom Kha, but it's not in the way that you would get it in a restaurant. So should I be in trouble because I used all the same elements? Well, you can't be in trouble for that. A list of ingredients is a list of perishable items. So, here's some other stuff. But, I don't know. So in my opinion, the future of food is necessarily changed by the fact that you can't and shouldn't copyright things.